Okay, we're recording. Hi, everybody. My name is Kevin O'Brien, and this is the Why Our World interview series. In this series of interviews, we're talking to our users all over the world and getting their perspectives and their insights and sharing their experience about their journey with the with R and in the R community. Today, we're joined by Corina from McCullough. She are joining us from Florida in the USA. Hi there.
Hello, how are you?
Good stuff. Good stuff. So tell us, just give us a quick introduction to yourself, a quick elevator pitch about what you're doing now and what you're working with.
Yes, so I was born in the Dominican Republic, but I was raised in Tampa, Florida. And I went to school at Florida State University, which is on the northern panhandle of Florida in Tallahassee. I studied sociology at FSU and I got my minor in statistics. And I thankfully came across the demography program, which meshed sociology and statistics very well. And through the program, I was able to expand my skills in SAS and then, of course, pick up skills in R. Um, I knew that later on I would have to become more well versed in R because it was more widely used compared to SAS. So it was a good opportunity to expose myself to the software. And so far, I've loved it. I've gotten comfortable with it, and I'm really excited to see what else I can do with it and play around with the different packages and stuff.
Good stuff. Just actually, first off, tell us about demography as a subject. That's it's quite an interesting subject actually. I've been reading up about it, but for a beginner's point of view or somebody unconnected with the subject, tell us a bit more about it.
So, demography is kind of a fancy word for population studies. And in particular, we examine population statistics. And if you want to break it down even more, demography, demographics. So, we look at gender, age structure, migrations, mortality rates, fertility rates, anything that can impact the population's increase or growth over a certain period of time. My old professor, Dr. Carlson, basically says that demography is just sex, death, and travel. So that's the main things that can impact the population the most. And yeah, that's basically all demography is.
Good stuff. And tell us about your journey with R. When did that start? What was that like when you started out with R? When you were you on your own or were you doing classes?
Yes, so one of the main required courses for my program was population data, and it was all in R. So, like I said, I had done most of my coding and programming in SAS. So they're very similar because they are both statistical softwares.
Yeah.
But R is more open sourced, and so I was able to learn how to access data from the Census Bureau, from the UN's population databases, and it was very difficult at first. They are similar in very minor ways, but there's more differences than similarities between the two programs. So it was difficult as a kickstart, but over time I just did my own due diligence to learn more about it, practice using it, and I eventually used it for my paper. And then funny thing is I went back and took an extra course um, in the population and health department, and I took another R course, and it really solidified the little gaps that I had with the program. And now I'm more comfortable and well versed, and picking up new packages is a lot easier for me now than it was before. So it's more secondhand nature now to me. So
Good stuff. So you already had a background with SAS already, so you weren't coming in as a complete novice to programming. So just actually tell us about like what
yes.
sort of packages that you might use in this line of work, like as well as maybe the basic ones, like the tidyverse ones, like ones that are a bit more specific to your line of work.
Yes, so most of the packages that I would use are, basic ggplot. If I want to, you plot a map, I use plot US map primarily. I have not expanded into plotting international data yet, but I am looking into that. And then another one that I just got into that I really am falling in love with is GG Animate.
Yeah.
It's really making my population pyramids come out a lot prettier. So those are the basic ones. And then, of course, Tidyverse. And then if I want to pull census data, I use Tidy Census. But those are the main ones that I do or use.
And is there a big community of demographers using R, or is it like, are you one of the pioneers of it still?
Oh, no. The demography community is surprisingly very small. The field is relatively new if you look at compared to like the field of sociology, geography, economics. So to actually have this concentration is relatively new. Um, they do use a lot of R, and then they also use GIS for mapping. You can also use Python. So they use a wide variety of softwares, but at least from what I've seen between my mentors, my professors, and other jobs I have been involved with, R seems to be the main software that they're shifting to and accepting more, I would say.
Good stuff. So tell me, how has like your work been like over the COVID crisis? How have you found like being a member of the art community during that period? Like how's the last while changed for you both professionally and as an R user?
I was very blessed professionally to be able to have a job offer with the U.S. Census Bureau during the pandemic. So I just started working with them in December. And although we do use SAS, I really wanted to perfect my R skills. So I started a Twitter account where it's just content creation, and I use R, mainly R, to produce maps, charts, graphs, and I use a wide variety of databases, whether it's from the CDC, the Census Bureau, or any random, I'll Google some random type of topic and see if there's data associated with it. I find it, I extract it, and then I make a visualization for it. So yeah, but it's at the job I do right now, it is not as incorporated, but there are other branches that are more centered around extracting and making visualizations with R. My line of work at the moment does not do that. My job prior, I did use a lot of R because we worked with government data. We had to filter out which counties and cities to focus on. So
Okay, yeah. And just actually you're based in the west of Florida. Tell us about the R community in the west of Florida, your interactions with the R community in your part of the world.
yeah, so the R community in more particular Tampa, it's not as active or engaging right now. Especially right now with the pandemic, and I'm pretty fresh to the art community, so I haven't been able to have the opportunity to meet up with people or have engagements like this over Zoom. But I do have friends and colleagues, whether they're working for Nielsen or biotech firms, they do use a lot of R. So it is relatively big, and Tampa is a growing city with more technical jobs being added. So I would say it's a lot larger than from what I have seen between associates and colleagues, but it has not been as connected yet because of the pandemic. But I believe it's growing, and I believe over time we will come together more.
Oh yeah, okay. I definitely, yeah. So just actually tell me more about your Twitter account, because actually that's actually how I found you. Actually, I saw your tweets, and I thought this is brilliant stuff. Like, let's find out some more.
Oh,
How's
thank
that going for
you.
you?
Oh, it's going really, really well. I really enjoy it. So the reason I made my Twitter account is because later in my career, I would like to get into consulting and incorporate my demography skills, theories, and of course my technical skills in R to for different companies, political campaigns, whoever would acquire my services. So I'm using it right now as a portfolio. But something I found very interesting is there weren't many um, data analysts, data scientists, demographers that were actively making content creations for these data visualizations. I'm the only one so far that puts out, 3 to 4 different posts on a weekly basis right now with these visualizations. But I love it so much. I mean, I just do it on my free time. I mean, right now it's pretty much plug and chug because I use the same code, but just throw in a different data set and then I just move on. But I really, really love it. And it gets me excited to have data visualizations and R more incorporated into my everyday work life in the future.
Good stuff. Have you started like just actually engage or like going to conferences and meetups? Like what would this sort of the conference and meetup scene like be in the Southwest or Southeast USA? Like expanding it out to Florida or the Southeast of the USA. Have you gone to any conferences or do you know much about it there? Or
Yes, so I was only able to go to one while I was in grad school called SDA, and it's the Southern Demographers Association. And it's mostly just obviously demographers in the South, and they come together to discuss their research interests or the different research projects that they're working on. Another one is PAA, which is more international, and they meet up in major cities in the United States. So um, there are some conferences, of course, again, because of the pandemic, I could not attend as many as I would like. But in a few months, I definitely want to get more engaged with these conferences because I really did learn a lot, and it does incite more curiosity and get me more encouraged to expand my research topics and subjects.
good stuff. Just actually, where would you see yourself going now in the next few years in the art community? Like, what's your ambitions in the next 3 or 4 years, let's say?
I know it's crazy to say, I'd probably like to get another master's degree. I would like to get one in data analytics and
Okay.
hopefully take more R courses in that. Maybe learn actually how to create packages. I think that would be really cool. For my professional life, like I said, I work for the US Census Bureau. Right now I'm working remotely, but I will be relocating to Washington, D.C. So, probably getting in touch with the art community there and really expanding my network and exploring like different jobs either within the census or still within the public sector and seeing where I can apply more of my R skills. Hopefully within, like I said, the next 4 to 5 years, that would be ideal for sure.
One question I usually typically ask, but I think you've answered it already, is the favorite R package. I think you
Yeah,
sort of like nailed your colors to the mast there with GG Animate. Like any
yeah.
others that you sort of recommend, like somebody who's coming in your wake, let's say they're interested in sociology and demography, and they sort of see the usefulness of analytics in that line of
Yes.
work. What would your sort of advice be to somebody coming in your wake, let's say?
I would say kind of start off small. I would say like more intro packages. So like you had mentioned, Tidyverse, Tidy Census if you want to get some census data, ggplot, pretty universal, Diplar, I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. Read Excel. Those were my 5 starting packages before I did anything, and just looking at how to make basic maps, charts and graphs. Because even though I use Plot US Map to do my maps now, I started in ggplot. So ggplot's really universal. You can do a lot with it and a lot more than people expect. So I would start off with those 5, and just see what you can do with it. Change colors of graphs, change how it's organized. Do cluster bar graphs, do stacked bar graphs. If you're gonna do a map, maybe change the different colors of the map. So just gradually, like baby steps into it, and then then you can just go wild with it, like I do on my Twitter. So.
Good stuff. We'll have to put the Twitter handle into the description so that people can follow you and stuff like that, and see what you're working on, because it is pretty cool stuff. Corina, I think we're going to leave it there. Thanks very much for joining us. You'll be will be joining us in the spring of 2021 for giving a full YR webinar for demography, and we're really looking forward to it. But until then, we leave it there. Thanks very much for joining us.
For sure. Thank you, Kevin. Have a great day.
I'm going to stop the recording now. Great stuff.